Oh, you can at least kind of see my face now, but it's the wrong brand behind me.
It's all good. I'm sure Xfinity will not mind.
Oh my gosh.
You giving them
I tried. I'm sorry.
a few extra shout outs there. So, okay, we'll go ahead and get started with Tyler. Friendly reminder, if you do have a question for Tyler, go ahead and raise your hand, and we're going to get to as many questions as we can in the time that we have with him. And to kick us off, we're going to go to Claire B. Lang. Go ahead, Claire.
Thank you. Tyler, talk about your thoughts about the Glen, because you have learned a lot about it and used to be terrified of it, and you were bad at road course racing, but you got better. Xfinity might have helped you. So what's your mental disposition going into the Glen this weekend today?
It's very positive, Claire. It was at the beginning of this 2-week break, really would have thought it was bad timing to just have 2 weeks away from racing and have this break to prepare for the road courses. We've been, consistently been climbing up, and, our momentum had been building. We'd been really running well, but to see how New Hampshire went, having, the 10 win, Eric Amarola winning, and really shaking up the playoff leaderboard, it was good to have a 2-week off period from racing. It may have been a break for a lot of teams and a lot of people, but for myself and a good number of us here at RCR, we took advantage of the time we had here to really cover every single detail that we could on our race cars, and take every last minute of preparation that we can to make our car better for Watkins Glen, and be as prepared as we can be going into Indy as well. So it ended up being a really good time to be able to just focus on these 2 races coming up ahead. So I was glad it ended up shaking out the way it did there.
Why were you terrified of road courses? Then you got better via Daytona Road Course and Road America, but what terrified you? And then how do you look at the situation with the playoffs ahead, trying to make it in?
Well, I came from dirt racing, and honestly, when in dirt racing, when you slow down or need to slow down, you just kick the car sideways and set up in the corner, use a little bit of brake, but you're not having to slow the car down at near the rate of speed that you do on a road course. It's pretty wild having to learn that for the first time as I was going through those steps in the truck series at Mosport and at other road courses in the Xfinity series as well. So it's nice knowing how far I've been able to come in this off season, and over the course of these last 2 or 3 years, getting more and more road course races under my belt. But now looking ahead to it, it's nice to be able to not be scared of the braking zones and not missing the shifts and the little things that really show up big at a place like Watkins Glen, which is a very fast track, very unforgiving. And, you make a mistake in the wrong area and you find yourself in the Armco barrier. So it's been really nice to get to this point that we're at, to where we're looking ahead and circling these road courses coming up.
How do you look at the playoffs real quick?
Oh, how do I?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, we've been on a really good, strong climb up through the ranks over the course of, I don't know, the last, maybe 17 or more races. We had a really bad race at Atlanta, and, that's when we were sitting there, I don't know, 30th or worse in points, just looking like it was not realistic to even point our way in. And, thinking that getting to just 16th was going to be a stretch over the course of this summer. But sitting in point, if you look at the point standings, not the playoff standings, we think we're in 13th or 12th, somewhere in there, done a really good job of getting points back and really turning the year around. But with the playoff format, for sure, 12th in points doesn't really mean anything here. And now where we're sitting, 16th at the moment. And, we got 2 road courses where there's gonna be a lot of strategy. One mistake can take out, really, really top teams and drivers that should win the race, circumstances you can't foresee. Like what we saw at New Hampshire with Kyle Busch and Martin Truex getting taken out early. You wouldn't have thought that, but 2 guys that were going to be really dominant and really strong that day got taken out, and it opened the door up for opportunity for the other guys to get in there, like Eric, and win. So when I look ahead to Michigan, Daytona, and these road courses, you could make the same case. I think at some point in each of these races, there's going to be a driver or drivers that are going to be in position to win this race, and a mistake will take them out of it. So it's going to be on guys like me to not make those mistakes, put ourselves in position, stay in position all day to try and go out there and win a race. Because yeah, pointing our way in would be great, and that's only really going to work, I think, if no one new wins. But I can't put all my cards, all my faith in that going into Daytona, sitting 16th on the cut line, and then having to race scared all day and hope, that someone doesn't win that's not supposed to, if you will. So that's not how we're going to go about it. We're going to go in there and be aggressive and race like we have all year long, but with a little more oomph and with a little bit more on the line. If you want to advance to the rounds in the playoffs, you got to be up front and contending for wins. So we'll just say it started a little bit early, and we got a four race stretch till it gets going, and hopefully we can win a race by then.
Thank you. Good luck.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Bob Popkris. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Tyler, what's been the feeling like the last two races when you look up and you have a pretty good finish and Kurt Busch won, and then you have an okay, I want to say we were around 12th or 13th at New Hampshire, and Eric Almirola won. What's been has it been deflating at all to see those guys win and now put you really on the bubble?
No, not at all, Bob, because those are guys that we've been able to, for the most part of the year, been able to run right with or outperform. So, hey, if guys like Kurt and guys like Eric Almirola can find victory lane, why not us? And that's our mindset going into these two road courses and Michigan and Daytona. We've been right there with them. All the little details add up, and on some days we're better than the one. On some days, most days, we've been outperforming the 10. But they had a fantastic weekend at New Hampshire, and did everything right, didn't make mistakes, and played the race strategy and won. So that's what we're going to focus on doing, race by race, putting all the little details together. It's very obvious one mistake here or there can totally change the outcome of your day. And for us, unfortunately, it was a part of our story at New Hampshire, sliding through the box, I think midway through stage one or right at the end of stage two. And that kind of changed the whole outlook for a whole race. So the pressure's on, but our whole team, our whole organization welcomes it. We've been working really hard on our cars. I've been working hard to be the most consistent and give the best feedback as a driver, all the things that I need to do. We're all working really hard together to that goal, and that's making the playoffs. And it looks like more and more, especially in the last two race weekends we've had with new drivers winning, it's time to really turn it up, and we got to go out there and have a great day. We got to take advantage of the speed we have, and we need to capitalize.
And has the organization addressed anything as far as you and Austin battling each other potentially for that last spot and points, as far as what you share, what you don't share, it's got to be a little awkward, I would imagine.
No, not at all. It's not been awkward at all. It really seemed like before we even kind of got together and talked about it, everyone had a game plan together how they're going to approach these next four races. I knew what I was wanting to do, and I thought I knew what the three, how they were going to approach it and what they were going to do. And it really seems like our strategies are going to align well. Nothing changes. We're still going to share everything as RCR would. This is a team sport, right? But you race against your teammates, so that angle is always interesting when you compare it to other team sports, because that doesn't exist in that way quite the same. But the faster and the better that we can be over here on the 8 is going to help the 3, and vice versa. So we share everything, because if I can't win, we need Austin to win, or the opposite. So nothing really changes. There's going to be no secrets, no silly games. Me and Austin, once we hit the racetrack, it's going to be the same as it's been all year long. We're going to go out there and race as hard as we can, and just try and have the best 4-week stretch that we can to hopefully lock both of our cars into the playoffs.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. No problem, Bob.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Alex Andrea. Go ahead, Alex.
Good timing. This is kind of the same question as what Bob just asked, but I'm just curious then, if that makes, getting a win for either you or Austin more important, if that sort of puts the pressure on you guys more to win in order to then leave that spot open for the next guy on the team. Does that make sense? And if there's been any discussion about that particularly?
Yeah, I think for us, we've been really consistent all year long, but the road courses for sure are races where, Sonoma was one where we missed a little bit, had a really bad tire rub, lost a set of tires, we're down that set the rest of the day at, the very, how do you put it? The very abrasive and a very abrasive track like Sonoma where tires are extremely important. That really kind of offset and put us off in a weird cycle and path for our day. But the other road courses, the speed's been there. I made a million mistakes, unfortunately, at both the Clash and our second points race at the Daytona road course. But when I look at Road America and COTA, our speed, our capability has been there. It's just a matter of putting the entire race together. And now too, when we went to COTA and when we went to Road America, we were going just for points. Now it's more about putting ourselves in position to go out there and battle for the win. And that's going to make, ideally, that should make that that outcome a little bit easier. When you're going for points and having to restart 20th, you're really putting yourself at more risk. You're putting yourself further behind the leaders that are just purely going for track position. So it's really nice that we have these races coming up here, but the stretch has been fun, but it's definitely time for us to turn it up that notch, because I feel like we need to get to this level and succeed at what we have right in front of us here if we want to go far down the stretch in the playoffs. That we got to step up to this first challenge in front of us.
And does that feel like it's going to be harder to do with these next upcoming races in August, because there are 2 road courses and then Daytona essentially to close out the regular season? Or more unpredictable, I guess you could say.
I don't think it makes it more difficult. Definitely if you're a guy like, Harvick, Hamlin, I guess if I didn't feel as confident as I did about the road courses, yeah, I would be nervous about someone new winning. But for us, it's an opportunity for us to go out and have a smooth day. When the car's right, it's in one piece and everything's working like it should, and we're all meshing and working well as a team together. We've got that capability to go out there and battle in the top 5 and have a shot at going for the win. So I know it sounds crazy. Never ran a cup race at Watkins Glen, but we put a lot of work into these other road courses too, and we've shown up off the trailer really, really close. So that gives me confidence going to these road courses. But for sure, if we I don't even want to think about not winning one of these road courses or not being in the spot we want to be, but it definitely is not going to be, ideal. Like I said, to be sitting 16th or 17th going into Daytona and having to just run, one of those most stressful races of your life type of days, just worrying about every point, every bump, that someone receives or gives, yes, getting the car in front of you crossed up and worrying that there's going to be a crash. We just need to avoid all of that, keep our season, our destiny in our control. And for us, doing that is, as I mentioned and talked about with these road courses coming up.
Thanks, Tyler.
No problem.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Dustin Long. Go ahead, Dustin.
Thank you. Tyler, you talked just kind of about the pressure and certainly the aspect for athletes here in the Olympics. One aspect that's been discussed a lot has been mental health. And certainly that's been an aspect that's been discussed by other athletes in the past. And I'm curious, how you kind of handle such situations, what you've learned from your past experiences. Look, we see the highs. I'm sure we probably don't see all the lows per se, but how does an athlete as yourself manage those and all the pressures that go with it?
It's not an easy thing to manage. First off, I don't know if you ever, I think you see some athletes out there, the guys, the men and women, for example, Tom Brady, he's been doing this a long time. There's been a lot of highs and lows, right? Switching teams here recently. There's a lot of athletes that seem to just find something that clicks for them. And it takes time and experience in the sport that you're doing, or time and experience with the team that you are at or the team that you're going to go to. It just, the more experience you have and the more faith and confidence you have in the people around you really help manage the load that comes with all this pressure, especially, for example, this stretch coming up here. We got 4 races. One bad race here or there could just totally, screw up the entire year, right? And it's important that you don't let the negatives become overwhelming. You focus on the positives. And for me, it's real easy to stay positive because I know of all the hard work that myself and this entire organization has put into this year, into road courses, and into our program. So seeing where we're at, seeing the rate of improvement that we've had from season start to now, there's a lot of real positive things here. And it's important that when you have the rough stretches, there was a lot of rough stretches rough patches, if you will. It was kind of a roller coaster in the rookie season. It's easy to let that become overwhelming. But like I said, good people around you, remembering those things that the time and effort that you put in to what you love and do really helps keep you positively motivated. It's, if anyone's ever went running for the first time, the first time you ever run a mile or 2 miles or 5 miles or 10 miles, the first time you do all those things are extremely stressful. They feel like they're an impossible task that you can never really do or accomplish, or they're just extremely challenging. But the more and more time you put exerting your body and exerting your mind and your mental limits, testing those limits, the better and better you can put up with those stresses as they come along. And especially in these long races, you're going to have a lot of moments, or the whole day could just totally be a disaster, right? And the more time that you prepare for it, whether that's training or studying, however it is, just helps build me up with confidence. So when those bad lows come across in our day or in our year, that we remember what we're doing this for and the amount of effort that we're putting in, and we're not going to allow the negative to dictate the rest of our day or the rest of our season.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we will not be able to get to everyone's question, but I'm going to try to squeeze in just a couple more before we let Tyler go. I'm going to go to Woody Kane and then Lee Spencer. Go ahead, Woody.
Thanks. Hey, Tyler, appreciate your time. I know all the focus right now is on the next one, Watkins Glen, but will you look ahead for us the following week to the Indy road course? We've been on several of these style of tracks where it's inside the traditional oval. What do you think about the racing there, and what are you expecting?
Don't really know how to expect the racing to play out. It's definitely a track that racing side by side is going to really be bad for lap time. I think you can make that case at a lot of these road courses. There's some very tight rhythm, motocross, supercross like sections through the infield of this track. And drivers are going to really want to race aggressively side by side for hoping to have the track position to come out on the other side ahead. So, I think there's going to be drivers and moments where, 2 drivers get really upset with one another because they're battling so hard, and the guy in third, just takes advantage of having the cleaner line and more momentum and passing both of them. We kind of saw that coming off the end of the course there. I'm going to forget the corner number. Let's just call it 15. I don't know. Coming on the main straightaway there where, like Chase Briscoe or Austin Cindric and Allmendinger were battling, and Briscoe kind of slings by both of them. So you have to race really smart. It's a very technical racetrack. It's very, very flowy. If you overdrive the first corner, especially off into turn 7, you're going to be paying that penalty all the way till you get back to turn 11. It'll be a challenging track. It's extremely flat. We're going to be putting around in some areas, really just trying to find the grip out of these Goodyear tires. But also, as we kind of saw at this race last year, and we've seen at other road courses, that we use we have a lot of big braking zones, like Road America and COTA. You're going to see a lot of tire fall off, brake fall off, maybe some parts failures. So it's going to be really hard on the cars. It's going to be hard on the teams. Although all that brake heat's going to bleed through the car, soak through the car. It's going to be hot for the drivers. So all around, it's going to be a tough weekend, but I'm excited for that challenge. And again, we've been working on Watkins Glen, and we've been working on Indy, and we've been very excited and very happy with the progress we've made here in the last 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll take our final question from Lee. Go ahead, Lee.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us, Tyler. Just kind of curious, the 5 Xfinity races that you were able to run this year, how much confidence did that bring to you when you were going into the Cup races the following day?
They were nice for sure. Kind of where I was in my path of trying to learn, CODA and get better and have some things that I can take away from the Xfinity race and apply to the Cup car, whether that was CODA, Homestead, Vegas, Nashville, were all extremely beneficial. But pretty much at the end of all of those races, I got out of the car and I was like, oh, I'm so hot. Like it was a struggle just to get back to 80% or wherever that was for the next day. And fortunately at Nashville, it was a little bit cooler the next day. The car stayed pretty nice on Sunday. At CODA, we had rain, and the other races a little bit earlier in the season to where I wasn't absolutely just melting inside the car. But learned at all of them, they've been a big help in understanding the tire a little bit better, understanding the little details and how the track is going to change over the course of a race. So they were a very big help. But man, it's just gotten so hot in the middle of this year right now that as much as I really wanted to do run multiple series at Watkins, Glen, and Indy, with how much is on the line for us on Sundays right now, really needing to perform at 100% all day, just gonna give up some of that experience to just be as fresh as possible for Sundays.
And you jumped into modified during the off week?
I don't think I did.
Okay, then it must have. There was a Tyler Reddick in a modified, and same time as Justin Haley. And I thought maybe you
Really?
had gotten a hall pass.
No, I didn't go racing anywhere with Justin Haley, but I saw Allgaier, obviously Larson winning the Prairie Dirt Classic, one of my favorite races of the year when I used to run dirt late models. I got to keep up with all that. I was watching it from home, but I didn't personally go hopping anything. I wish I could have.
Cool. All right, thanks.
No problem.
All right, Tyler, thank you so much for hanging with us and spending some extra time with us. And we wish you the best of luck this weekend.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. Sorry I couldn't get
All
there.
right.